God says, "You cannot skip this. This message is our last hope to save you. Something unexpected is moving toward tomorrow, and you need to hear this before the noise of the day, before distraction steals your focus, before one careless step places you where you were never meant to stand. Hear me clearly, this is not random, and you are not here by accident. You felt the pull for a reason. You clicked for a reason. Heaven has interrupted your routine because your spirit needed this warning before the hour arrives. Let me tell you plainly, chosen one, this is not about fear. This is about protection. God is saying that what approaches may not look dangerous at first. It may come through a rushed decision, a place that suddenly feels wrong, a conversation that shifts in tone, or a moment when your guard drops and your discernment goes quiet. Do not treat tomorrow like an ordinary day. Do not move on autopilot. Do not assume that what feels familiar is safe. There are moments when destiny is tested, not by something dramatic, but by something subtle. And this is one of those moments. God is preparing you now, so you will not be caught unready then. You have been called, set apart, and marked for more than survival. You carry purpose. And that is exactly why heaven is speaking before the threshold, not after the damage. Let me warn you, when God sends a word like this, it is mercy, it is covering, it is love arriving in the form of urgency. So if your spirit is already sensing that this message is for you, do not stay silent. Comment now, God, I will not ignore your voice. And if you receive this warning with faith, like this video, subscribe to this channel, and share it with someone who needs spiritual covering before tomorrow begins. I ask you again, what did your spirit feel the moment these words reached you? Peace, pressure, or a holy warning you could not explain? Hold that question in your heart, because what heaven is about to reveal next goes deeper than danger. It touches the reason this moment found you at all. Hear me clearly, tomorrow is not ordinary, and you know it. Something in your spirit has already felt the weight of it. Even if your mind has not found the words yet, this is not just another day to rush through, another schedule to survive, another list to complete and forget. This is a threshold. God is saying that you are standing at the edge of an appointed moment. And what makes it dangerous is not only what could happen around you, but what could happen within you if you move without discernment. Let me warn you, some doors in life do not look like doors when you first reach them. They look like delays. They look like interruptions. They look like strange hesitation, unexplained pressure, or a sudden loss of peace when everything around you seems normal. But heaven sees what human eyes do not. Heaven knows when a routine moment is carrying spiritual consequence. That is why God is slowing you down before tomorrow arrives. He is not trying to make you fearful. He is trying to make you precise. C. Z. Lewis understood something many people still resist. The soul is always being ordered by what it places first. He wrote, "Put first things first, and we get second things thrown in. Put second things first, and we lose both first and second things." And that is not just a clever line. It is a spiritual law buried inside daily life. When you put urgency first, you lose peace. When you put appearances first, you lose clarity. When you put habit first, you lose sensitivity. But when God is first, even what you do not fully understand begins to fall under divine order. Lewis saw that the deepest battles of faith are not always dramatic. Often they are hidden in ordinary choices, in what the heart bows to first, in whether the soul will trust God's order above its own impulses. And that is exactly where you are being tested now. God is preparing you at this threshold to live differently, to move differently, to notice what you once ignored. You are not just being warned about tomorrow. You are being called higher. You are being summoned out of automatic living and into holy attention. Because once heaven brings you to a threshold like this, the next thing that matters is not how strong you look, but how clearly you can discern the voice of God when the moment arrives. The danger coming toward tomorrow is real. And the reason heaven is speaking so urgently is because it will not arrive in the form you expect. It may not announce itself with chaos. It may not come with a loud sign, a visible threat, or an obvious crisis that everyone around you can recognize. That is exactly what makes it dangerous. God is saying that what approaches may wear the face of normalcy while carrying the spirit of disruption. It may come disguised as a small decision, a rushed reaction, a conversation you should not stay in, a place you should not enter, a pressure you should not submit to, or a moment when your spirit whispers stop and your flesh says keep going. Hear me clearly, not every danger looks dark when it first appears. Some of the most costly moments of a person's life begin in something subtle, something dismissible, something that looks harmless until the damage is already unfolding. That is why you cannot afford to move carelessly. That is why you cannot afford to treat your inner warning like imagination. The enemy does not always begin with destruction. Sometimes he begins with distraction. Sometimes with delay in your discernment. Sometimes with just enough confusion to make you step outside the covering of obedience. And once that happens, what should have been avoided becomes something you must recover from. I say again, this is serious because the issue is not only what is ahead of you, but whether you will recognize it before it touches your peace. Lewis understood that spiritual battles are often fought in the quiet places before the visible collapse. He wrote, "Relying on God has to begin all over again every day as if nothing had yet been done." That truth cuts deep here, because yesterday's strength will not carry tomorrow's moment if you enter the day half awake, spiritually casual, or emotionally led. You cannot borrow old sensitivity for a fresh warning. You must depend on God again. Listen again. Surrender again. Obey again. That is where many fail. They think because they survived past battles, they can move through the next one by instinct alone. But God is saying, no, this moment requires living discernment. Present surrender, fresh attention. And there is something even heavier in this word. What approaches may not be meant to destroy you completely, but it can wound your clarity, shake your timing, disturb your peace, and pull you near what heaven was trying to keep far from you. So do not minimize this warning. Do not dress it down into something polite and manageable. Let it strike your spirit with the seriousness heaven intended. Because once you understand that the danger may come quietly, the next question becomes urgent, personal, and impossible to ignore when God sends the signal in real time. Will you recognize His voice quickly enough to obey? God is preparing you to recognize Him in the pause. Not only in the breakthrough. Hear me clearly. Many people expect God to speak through fire, through shaking, through doors flying open, through moments so dramatic they leave no room for doubt. But often, His protection comes in a quieter form. It comes as a restraint you cannot explain. It comes as a loss of peace right before you say yes. It comes as a sudden heaviness over a place that looked harmless 5 minutes earlier. It comes as a delay that frustrates your flesh but shields your future. God is saying that tomorrow you must not ignore the pause. You must not despise the interruption. You must not rush past the moment where your spirit grows uneasy, because that moment may carry the very instruction that keeps you covered. Let me tell you plainly, not every closed door is rejection, and not every disruption is an attack. Some interruptions are mercy wearing rough hands. Some delays are protection dressed like inconvenience. Some changes in plan are not the enemy blocking your path. They are God redirecting your steps before your eyes can understand what your spirit has already sensed. This is why you cannot judge tomorrow only by appearances. You must pay attention to what leaves your peace, what clouds your clarity, what presses your soul in the wrong direction. Scripture says, "I will instruct you and teach you in the way which you shall go. I will guide you with mine eye." God does not guide only through answers. He also guides through restraint, through redirection, through the quiet check in your spirit that tells you, not this, not now, not here. And I need you to hear this deeply. Chosen one, if a message feels wrong, pause. If a conversation turns heavy, pause. If a place suddenly feels off, pause. If your spirit tightens while everything outwardly looks normal, do not betray that warning just to appear agreeable, easygoing, or unbothered. God is preparing you to move differently now. He is teaching you that discernment is not always loud. Sometimes it is a whisper that says, wait. Sometimes it is a wait that says, step back. Sometimes it is a silence that says, do not answer yet. And those who survive what others walk straight into are often the ones who honored the pause when nothing visible made sense. So, when tomorrow shifts, when something in you says slow down, when your peace begins to pull back, do not force yourself forward to satisfy habit, pride, or pressure. Stay teachable in the interruption. Stay soft enough to stop. Stay awake enough to notice what heaven is doing behind the delay. Because not every inner movement is from God, and not every urgency deserves your obedience. That is where the warfare becomes real. I say again, God leads with clarity, but darkness drives with pressure. This is where the warfare becomes real. And this is where many people lose battles they do not even realize they are fighting. Hear me clearly. Chosen one, not every urgent feeling deserves your obedience. And not every strong emotion carries the voice of heaven. Some of what tries to move you tomorrow will not come to destroy you by force. It will try to move you by pressure, by haste, by emotional confusion, by that inner rush that makes you feel you must answer now, decide now, explain now, stay now, react now. But God is saying that what is born from Him carries a different weight. His voice may be strong, but it is not chaotic. It may be firm, but it is not frantic. It may correct you, but it does not shove you into panic, darkness. On the other hand, loves speed without peace. It loves reaction without discernment. It loves to make you feel that if you do not move instantly, everything will collapse. Let me warn you that false urgency has ruined many destinies. It has pushed people into rooms they should have left, into agreements they should have delayed, into conversations they should have remained silent in, into explanations heaven never asked them to give. And afterward, they called it a mistake, when in truth it was warfare wearing the mask of urgency.